Not the smartest guys in the room. We got our man Tom. I hear you. Well, you don't. I don't hear you yet, but you probably hear me, Tom. Welcome.
I do. I hear you loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear. We are good to go. Rocking and rolling.
You
Live.
mentioned that microphone does sound good.
Yeah, sounds good. Good. It's a different microphone. So it's I decided I needed a better boom microphone for interviews and stuff like that, which I do a lot of for business. And so I bought I treated my clients to a better microphone that I can use for some of the work that I do. So I've been testing it out, using it on my setup. It also means that I don't have a microphone right in front of me. It's a few feet away, or it's maybe a foot and a half away. And that means that I can actually talk with my hands, which I usually do. And I would bang the microphone. So for anybody watching this live stream, they can see what I'm talking about. For anybody listening, I'll describe it for you. But that usual podcast setup that you're so used to seeing, right? For any video podcast that you subscribe to, where the host or the guest has a microphone kind of pretty close to their face. That was what I would typically have in the past. And I still have that microphone on a stand on the side of my desk. It's right here. So for anybody watching, you can see it now, and it would usually sit right about here. So it was kind of like really close to my face. And it worked great. It sounds great. It's a great microphone. It's great for podcasting. It's great for different uses. But I wanted to try something new. So wanted to test out this microphone before I use it for a paying client. I wanted to make sure that it sounded good. So thanks for saying that. I appreciate it.
And for anybody watching the live stream, if they review it or anything like that, Tom's smiling away. He's got a rabbit on his shirt with a rad rabbit. I think it says rad rabbit. And the rabbit is red, white, and blue. So he's
in orange. Of course, there's some orange on there because. And orange. Of course, there's some orange on. Sorry, I was muted on Clubhouse, but yeah, there's some orange on there because it's me. I've got to have orange. It's my favorite color.
I didn't know that. All right, so let's ping some
logo.
people. I didn't know that, man. Okay, let's. You have a merch store, right?
I've got some stuff online, like on my website. I think it's talexmedia.com/shop. And you can buy, there's some hoodies and t-shirts and stuff like that I've designed on there. I was going to make some more stuff for this summer. I was going to make some more t-shirts and things. So yeah, there's some stuff on there. If anybody wants to buy a t-shirt and support Talex Media and wear something with a cool, fun saying or something on it. Then I've got a sweatshirt that on the back it says "Video killed the radio star," because I'm a video production company, so it makes sense. But if anybody wants to buy anything, yeah, I think it's talexmedia.com/shop. I'll put the link in the Clubhouse once I find it, and I'll say it out loud for anybody listening.
It's cool, man. You got to have summer merch. I just ordered some more Motivation Champ stuff to make sure I'm wearing it from time to time. Sometimes you'll see me with these big hats on, or whatever, shirts with sweatshirts, whatever they are. So, but then I wear the stuff, then it gets, it gets faded or ripped or dirty, and I can't wear it out anymore. Okay, let's get this going. Not the smartest guys in the room. Alexandra, what's going on today? Tom was shot out of a cannon this morning. We were talking about collaboration being bigger than competition. So, one, how are you doing, and what do you think about that? Go on, my friend.
You got shot out of, literally? What?
Because he's on fire. That means, when you're shot out of a cannon, that means you got, a lot of passion about something, a lot of energy.
Okay, I get it now. Okay. I was so confused. I'm like, wait, how are you okay to be... Okay, I got it now. I'm good. I'm glad that you're on fire. That's good. I had my first podcast interview on Saturday with my first guest, so I'm excited about that. Going to be recording my intro, my outro, and my trailer. And then probably going to be doing the pilot episode as well. So I'm excited for Saturday, to be honest.
So I'm going to ask you a question that my dad always asked me. Was there anything that happened unexpected, like when you were doing it, you want it to go this way, and all of a sudden, like, your mic cuts out, or the dog starts barking, or anything like that that you weren't expecting would happen when you were recording your first episode?
No, I haven't recorded it yet. I'm doing it all on Saturday. But thanks for jinxing me. I appreciate it.
That's not a jinx. So we're preparing you for that. The dog might bark, the internet might go off, all these. When I was in sales, like on a daily basis, we'd do this thing before we went in a call. It was like 3-2, I think. Here were the 3 objections, or here were the 2 objections, and here were the 3 things we were going to say. So you would go in knowing, okay, power's going to go out. Okay, guest is going to call in late. Okay, I'm going, dogs start barking. How do we handle that? So, Alexandra, that's my, those are my things. Not jinxes, just something to think about. There you go. What do you think, Tom? Any other advice you would give her?
Well, I was just going to say I think be yourself, right, is kind of the best thing when you're going into a situation like that. If there's any sort of nerves about, a lot of people get caught up in their head about trying to be perfect, right? And I think that's actually the worst thing you can do. Don't try to be perfect. Just try to be you. And that's all anybody expects. Nobody expects perfection, right? They just expect you to be you. And then, yeah, I'd love to hear what Alexandra thinks about the question you asked too. I think we got sidetracked with the shot out of a cannon confusion, but Alexandra, what do you think? Like what I was saying to Dom before we got on was that collaboration is so much more powerful than competition, but a lot of people get caught up in competition and compete rather than collaborate. And I think that's a mistake. So what are your thoughts? Do you think collaboration is more powerful than competition, or where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I do. I think competition has its place because if you allow it to push you to be better, not better than the other person, but just to be better for your own sake. But collaboration also pushes you to be better in its own way because you want to come at the same level as the person you're collaborating with. So I think they go hand in hand in terms of pushing you to be your best self. But call me crazy. I'm going to quote a t-shirt that I've seen a lot. But call me crazy, but I like to see other people win.
I like it. Absolutely. I mean, it's, it kind of goes to, I think my thinking on this all goes to, and I had a conversation about this yesterday, but goes to the idea that I very much want to embody the spirit of helpfulness, right? Like my sort of goal is I want to help as many people as I can. And I do that sometimes through work that I get paid for, but often it's through other things I do, through the volunteer work that I do. I'm a volunteer firefighter, and actually 18 years, total little sidebar here, but 18 years in the volunteer fire service. And last night was the first time in that 18 years that I've ever gone on a call where the call was for a cat in a tree. So that's a real thing. That's not just a comedy trope. It's a real thing. It happens. And it happened last night to me and my fire department. Unfortunately, we did not get the cat down because he didn't want to come down, and he just climbed higher and higher. So the owner said, he'll come down. I'm going to put some food out for him. Thanks anyway, guys. But anyway, yeah, I think.
Hey, hold on. So was the cat really stuck, or was it just climbing?
It wasn't stuck. It had gotten outside. It had gone up the tree, and they couldn't get it to come down. And so they called us thinking we'd show up with a ladder and climb up there and get him down. We put the ladder up and started to go up to get him. And he was like, no, thanks, guys. And just went further up in the tree. So it was kind of like we tried to call him down for a while. We put some food out and left the ladder in case he came down far enough that we could get up and get him. And he just didn't want to come back down. So the owner was like, you know what? He'll come back down on his own. He always does. Eventually, I just thought maybe we could get him down now, but before it got dark, because it was getting dark. But the owner didn't seem very concerned, because apparently he spends time outside and sometimes is gone for a day or two and then comes back. So they were like, he'll probably just come down on his own, I guess. So that was the whole story. It was relatively uneventful, but it was just funny because I thought it was hilarious that we actually got 18 years, seriously, 18 years I've been responding to calls with 2 different volunteer fire departments that I've been a member of. And this is the first time that I've ever been on a cat stuck in a tree call. It didn't resolve in any sort of heroic fashion, but it happened.
Okay, there are so many lessons. I would love to go just making metaphors and analogies right there. Do a whole speech, whole presentation, cat in tree, didn't come down, just kept going up. You could do so much with it. I'm into that story. All right, keep going, Tom.
Yeah, it makes you think of it makes me want to go down like a control the controllables kind of thing, right? Because people get focused on things they can't control. And anyway, yeah, we could spend the whole conversation today on just that, I'm sure, coming up with different ways to use that metaphor in a speech. But what I was talking about was because I want to embody this spirit of helpfulness, because I value collaboration so highly. And I think for people that work in a creative field, collaboration is kind of the lifeblood of creative work, right? Good creative work always comes from collaboration. It almost never comes out of a vacuum, right? It always comes from inspiration, collaboration, working with others, pulling things from other people's work, having people, offer bits and pieces to your work. So I really value collaboration and helpfulness. And so in order to do that, I've done something professionally to remind myself that that's how I always want to be. And so I changed it seems like a really silly, trivial thing, but it actually I think has an outsized impact. I changed my email signature. And I've mentioned this a little while ago, but Dom has seen it because he gets emails from me. Right. And I changed my email signature, and it literally says, instead of sincerely or best wishes or any of the kind of normal things that people put in their email signatures, it says, here to help, Tom. Right. And then it has my, logo and information, all that stuff below, and contact info and everything. But in that signature, the way I sign off every email is here to help. And I did that for 2 reasons. I want it to be a reminder to me with every email that I send that I am doing that, sending that email to that person, interacting with that person. And ultimately my goal with that interaction is to help, right? That is the ultimate goal that I'm always working towards. So it's a constant reminder with every email that I send that I'm here to help. That's what I'm here to do. Right. And then the other one is that I tell people all the time, and I've said it here before, I've said it in rooms when we've had over 100 people in here, I've given out sort of an open invitation to people. I want you to think of me as a resource, right? I am here to help. I love talking about what I do because I love what I do. And so if I can be of any help to you, if I can be a resource to you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And almost no one takes me up on that, right? In fact, Dom was trying to figure out microphones and things to buy and hadn't reached out to me last week, right? Because people it's one of those things, people don't think of it, right? And no matter how often I say it, it almost goes against our nature to do that, right? And so, but I tell people all the time, so I want it to be a reminder to everybody that I send an email to, that I am here to help them, right? Whether it's within the text of that individual email or more broadly, that they can reach out to me, that I'm a resource, that I'm happy to help however I can, right? So not if I can, because I can always help some way, right? It's not if I can help, it's however I can help. But yeah, I don't know. So that's just one of those small things that I've done to try to embody that spirit.
Yeah, Tom's here to help. I think some of us, like, sometimes you worry about bothering somebody, Tom. You know, oh, I don't want to bother Tom. He probably doesn't. It's beneath him if I ask him about, this microphone. Here he's in a studio on a set, and I'm asking him, well, Tom, what dopey microphone should I be using that costs $100? What, in my $100 budget, what microphone should I be using? And Tom's, using boom mics that cost thousands or whatever. So I think some of it that's part of it at times, I think. So, all right, not the smartest guys in the room. Let's talk to our friend Holly. Holly, I like to collaborate with Holly. Holly, I want to get you some guests for the show. If you want guests, I got you. I got some people for you. But Holly, tell us about collaboration versus competition. How do you collaborate? Is it working for you? Is it bad? Or should we just compete? I'm in a lot of competitions. When I go running and do Tough Mudders and stuff, Tom, I'm always looking at somebody like that I raced against like 5 years ago, or went to high school with, or went to college with. And when I run, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pass him. I'm going to wait till we go through the mud, and then I'm going to pass him. I'm going down that hill. I'll stay behind him for the next half mile and then pass him there. So maybe competition's good. Holly, what do you got for us? Go on.
I love that, Dominick. Good morning, everyone. I think a healthy dose of competition is just that. I think it's healthy. But within my business, I really don't look at things as competition. I think there's a whole different aspect to it. And so I really personally like collaboration. I like working with other people, feeding off other people, having other people feed off me. And I have been in a couple of collaboration situations where I felt like the person I was with or the group of people I was with were competitive. And so I removed myself from that, because in business, I don't like the competitive nature when working with other people. I like the collaboration because I think there's room for all of us to do what we're doing, because even if we're in the same lane, we're not doing the exact same thing because we're not the exact same people. And I really honestly believe that. And I really honestly feel that there's room for all of us. And I think it takes help from each other. So, but then again, I'm a very competitive person in a different arena. So just throwing that out there.
Thank you, Holly. And Tom's in his Ironmans. And so, he's talking competition, he's talking collab, but he can say all that he wants to say, but he's competitive as hell too. So Tom, tell us about that. How do you separate the two? How do you know that this competition isn't, sometimes competition's good, and then go on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think competition can be a good thing, right? I'm not trying to say that competition is a bad thing. When it comes to doing like triathlons, when it comes to the races that I run, that competition is really with myself, right? That's me pushing me to do the best I can, right? And in that case, I think competition is incredibly valuable and can be an incredibly good thing, right? The specific context in which I hate competition, right? And I mean that. I hate it. It drives me nuts. Is particularly in business, when people who are in the same industry actually will work to tear each other down, right? trying to fight for scraps rather than working to build everyone up and build their industry up to increase the market for their industry and increase revenues and profitability and service for everyone across the board, right? That's the place where I really hate competition. And I just had an experience with this in the last week where some people that I know through a networking organization were a little bit upset about somebody else who's in the same sort of space as them being invited in to visit a networking group. And it became this whole thing about how, like, you know, they have carved out their space and like you can't step on their toes, and like, you know, they have crossover and there's too much crossover, and if they come in, then like it's hard enough to get clients, and then we have to deal with this kind of competition. And I'm like, how little do you think of your own work if you're worried about somebody one time visiting a meeting, and like, what, you're going to lose all your clients? Like, then you probably shouldn't have had them to begin with, my opinion, right? So it's that kind of competition. It's that pettiness, right? That small-mindedness, that scarcity mindset kind of competition that drives me crazy, and I hate it. And it is so detrimental, whereas collaboration is so beneficial, right? And that's where I just don't get when people get caught up in that stuff. But as for like competing with myself, I'm all about it. Not gonna lie, I do it all the time. I talk shit to myself when I'm out. I'll be out on a run and I'm trying to hit a target and I'm not quite getting there, and I'll be like, "Come on, you lazy piece of, get it going. Let's go, move harder. You got this. You got more." Like, you know, that kind. I'll talk shit to myself. No question.
You know what I say to myself a lot of times when I'm out, like whatever I'm running or biking, and I've got this final push. Let's say I'm 2 miles away, whatever. I say, faster, faster, faster. This isn't going to kill me. Not doing it might. This won't kill me. Not doing it might. Not doing it might. Not doing it might. So I'm always in my head like that. I have more, right? Because so many times, this is probably, and this is, I'm just going to shift it up. What if you went all in? How many of you right now, what if you went all in? Are you all in? Have you ever been all in? How much would things change if you went all in? So whether it's biking that last mile, your business, you know, well, I've been doing the same thing for 15 years and I'm here. What if you went all in? What if you went all in for 6 months? What if you went all in for a year? Well, you could change in a year and say, wow, I went all in. I gave myself 1 year to go all in. I gave myself 2 years to go all in. And it didn't, you know, now 2 years came and went. Okay, it wasn't for me. I'm going back to do whatever I went. Okay, in that race, if I went all in, okay, well, I'm going to be twice as sore. I'm going to be twice as tired, whatever it is. So, all right. So let's go to our queen of collaboration. That's a good nickname for her, Julie, queen of collaboration. She's a collaborating genius. Really, she is. And I mean, raises the bar with everybody she collaborates with. So I want to give you a couple things before we get to Julie. Collaboration over competition. ChatGPT, it's on fire right now. The whole topic's on fire. So it's, even this morning I was using it just to put some stuff out and then to mess with a friend. So I use it multiple ways. Talking about going all in. I did get sunburn over the weekend. Damn, my tan is so nice, but for the first time, it was 70 degrees and I got so burnt, man. Last night I was like this. I don't know what was going on. I like had a fit of itchiness from the sunburn. I'm like the Pink Panther under this shirt. Okay, then here's the other one that's got me fired up. Is I'm just going over all these things on my mind, so bear with me. Social media. There's so many people that are like, I'm fed up with it. I spend too much time on it. I'm exhausted by it. Why? Then relax. Then don't post so much. Then get off of it for 3 days. Get off of it for a month. You don't owe social media anything. It's not like if you left social media today it's not going to be the end of the world. Well, my business will suffer. I don't know that it would, because you'd put your efforts somewhere else. You'd put your effort into networking. You'd put your effort into phone calling. I used to sell yellow pages. We didn't use social media. We went door to door. So all these, I mean, it's not the end of the world. So Julie, now that I am all wound up and we have all these subjects and you are the queen of collaboration, steer us down a path. What do you got for us?
I have a question for Dominick. Tom, very nice to see you. I'm putting on my journalism hat right now. So tell me, Tom and Dom, if you were to leave social media today, would anyone miss you? Question.
I mean, I'd like to think so, but I mean, yeah, I think people would. I think it would be some folks would notice. I would get people reaching out, going, "Hey, where'd you go?" I don't think there would be an outcry per se, but yeah, I think people would miss me, would notice I was gone. What do you think, Dom?
Well, my question is, if you left social media today, would you be gone? And I would argue that in my world, like let's say with authors and books and publishing, social media is just one of the tools. The book, well, they're there by book. They're out doing presentations. They're out in the public in all these other aspects. So Tom would still be out. They'd see you at the networking group. They'd see you in your book coming out. They'd see you on, whatever else you're doing. So on set. So I don't know. I mean, would some people that follow you on a certain site? Yeah, but you're still going to hit them. You've still connected all these other ways. So I don't know. Julie, how's that for an answer?
That's a good answer. And how would it affect your business? And I know, John, my app is really glitchy. Like, I can't see anybody in the room, so I don't know who's in here. But, like, if you didn't do social media for a month, would it affect your business?
Absolutely, be huge.
I knew John would say that because he's a master at Facebook.
Okay, John, tell us about that. If you didn't do social media, you still are a radio show host. You're still a podcaster.
Right.
Would you is a podcast considered social media? I mean,
well, there's multiple ways that they're discovered. Your show's discovered. So, radio is one way, getting people to listen to the show, being on more radio stations, and they use that to drive traffic to social media, your email newsletter, your website, whatnot. Calls to action. The other two that I have control over is social media posting, which ones perform, which ones don't, that generate increased discoverability for the podcast version of my show. And the third one is search engines. So I post daily on Facebook, and I schedule the post starting around 6 a.m. to around 1 a.m., 7 days a week. And they're every 59 minutes apart. And there's a strategy I use. I don't post on the other platforms daily, but I do post new episodes on every platform. So having said that, when I look at the analytics, when we're not talking about podcast apps like Apple and Google and Spotify, we're talking about social media. The number one top performer by far, month in, month out, is not just Facebook, but the mobile Facebook app. Outperforms every other single one for driving traffic. So yes, in answer, it would make a huge dent in what I do. But I'll agree this, my personal page, I don't post that much. And when I do post, it's all for a purpose. And it's to grow engagement on a show. I post and I ghost. I don't get involved in comments. I don't respond to people. I don't do any of that stuff. What people promote for engagement, look, if someone's a troll, I treat them like a troll and I ignore them. Unless they're absolutely rude, then I ban them. That's all there is to it. I don't have time to be distracted by their goals. So, yes, in answer to your question, I use it as a tool to market what I do, but I'm not all wrapped up in it. And it would make a huge difference for me if I stopped posting on there.
Thanks, John, man. Always appreciate your input. And we listen and we're like, we better think about that. Julie, good question. Ellie, what do you think about the question? Go on. Or you want to talk about sunburn? Whatever you want to talk about. Go on, Ellie. The floor is yours now. We'll keep it rolling. Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry,
my network is very bad.
that's all right. You want to talk about my sunburn? You want to talk about going all in? What do you got for us?
Well, I think that you have 10 something for that ratio, correct?
Your microphone seems like it's in you're in the vortex right now. We'll come back to you, okay? I'm gonna mute you. Mute you, get you out of the vortex, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, let's see.
Sounds like driving might be in a bad connection zone or something.
I had to do a Zoom yesterday while I was driving. I'm driving a Jeep, a Standard that, I'm like driving around like this, and I'm on a Zoom call with somebody from, I think they're in Arkansas, and the other person was in Finland. And I'm trying to have a normal call till I could pull over. So yeah, crap happens. Okay.
Well, I wanted to say something to that because I've had this experience, and I don't know if I'm just I'm being over, if I have a tendency to get a little overreactive to things sometimes. So I'm gonna ask this as a question. I'll tell you exactly how I reacted, but I'm gonna ask as a question if it was overdone, right? So I had somebody, this was a little while back, I had somebody schedule, use my calendar link, schedule a call with me, right? Asking for some help with something. I get on the call, it's a Zoom call, right? I get on the call and they are in their car, cutting in and out. I can barely hear them. And it kind of really, it sort of annoyed me because I was like, look, you scheduled this meeting with me, right? I'm giving you my time to answer your questions. This is not like a business development call. I wasn't trying to sell, I wasn't trying to land a sale, right? It was one of those things where they asked me for time to answer their questions. And then I'd rather somebody reschedule in that case than we wasted 20 minutes just trying to have a bit of a conversation before before they finally admitted that it wasn't working and asked to reschedule. But it just it really annoyed me. And it bugged me for it kind of rolled around in my head for a little bit after that. So did I overreact? Should I have kind of let that, water off a duck's back, or should I have said something? Maybe I didn't say anything in the moment, but I don't know. I just wanted to pose that question.
I love the question. And so in this case, they were on a call and they asked me to jump on. So I said, give me a couple minutes. I'm rolling through the hills. To Tom's question, I hate when somebody's in the car on the Zoom when we scheduled something. I hate when I'm on a Zoom, like right now I'm looking at Tom on the live stream. If I'm on a Zoom with somebody and I see them looking off to the side, we're talking and they're typing like this. And so I know they're multitasking, while they're on the call with me. This is pet peeve or whatever. I'm so annoyed by it. I've been or they're looking off like this way. And I'm like, we can, if you're busy right now, we can schedule another time, and that's, if my wife listens to this, that's the other day I called her and we were talking about something and I'm talking and then all of a sudden I heard and she types real fast, and I knew that she's not, she's now multitasking. And I was like, oh, if you're busy, we can talk later, and she took offense to me. So she's like, no, I heard what you said, but I knew she missed some of it. And so Tom, to your point, I hate it, man. I can't stand it. If give me 15 minutes, let's just make it 15 minutes. Make it another time. But
right.
Yeah.
Especially if you schedule with somebody. I feel like if you schedule with someone, the onus is on you to if you have a conflict, if you have to be in your car, to just reach out and say, hey, look, here's the situation. We can reschedule if you'd like, or if you're happy to have the call, I'll do my best to make it work. But like it was just sort of like, oh, whatever. Like you'll just deal with this. And I was kind of like, but I don't want to deal with it. Like, and you didn't even give me a choice. Right. It's sort of like inviting somebody out to dinner and then deciding to go to a restaurant that you like without any consideration for like whether or not they eat that kind of food. Right. Like, I don't know. Just just struck me. It really annoyed me. And you talking about like being on the call yesterday in your car. Like obviously it wasn't a comment on you because I didn't know the circumstances of that. But if somebody asked you to jump on a call and you're like, hey, I'm in my car, and they're like, no worries, then fine, right? But yeah, it really sort of bugged me. So I wanted to see if I was overreacting or if that was a
I think we should. I think we should have some basic etiquette around here. Okay, not the smartest guys in the room. Basic etiquette. You want to know basic etiquette? So typically, if anybody has a question, if you want to ask, we bring you up on stage. If we've seen you around, we bring you up on stage. Then we go from left to right on all these subjects we're talking about. We pretty much roll around the room from left to right. And then if somebody says, hey, I'm an expert in podcasting or microphones or whatever the subject is, then we might jump to them because they flashed or something. So feel free to always flash as well. Now we are going to meet Jackie, our friend Jackie. What's been going on, Jackie? Please do your best to live in kindness. Now this is a good bio. To be truly successful, please do your best to live in kindness. To be truly successful in life and business. Yeah, kindness is king. Jackie, what do you got for us today? What are your thoughts on any of these subjects? Go on.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Great to be able to be here again today. And thanks for bringing me in, Julie. So, which thing in particular would you like to have a comment on? Because I was in and out on a call, so bear with me.
You go wherever you want. You can go. Well, let's go. Because we said this earlier today, and somebody asked us, Tom was shot out of a cannon today on collaboration over competition. Then I said that to start the room, and somebody said, Alexandra said, Tom was shot out of a cannon. Are you okay? And I thought that was a common phrase, but we'll talk about competition and collaboration. So how is that one?
Yeah, okay. Well, for me, I think collaboration is king, queen, and all that goes with that. There's so many people out there, and they're in their silos and they're looking at other businesses or other successful people, and they see them that they have to do better or copy or exceed what someone else is doing, without realizing that if they actually collaborated with these people, it would help both their journeys to success, both their journeys in business. And just people can just be so small-minded sometimes and selfish and perhaps insecure. So for me, it would definitely be collaboration over competition any day, any day. It's the best way to go.
We hear you, and you said you knew Julie, and don't you think Julie's one of the best collaborators around?
I think she is fucking amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, the work she's doing here, the work she's doing with Breakout, and just her overall communication skills, her overall kindness, her overall expertise. She's incredible, absolutely incredible. So when Julie pinged and I was available, I was like, I'm coming. But I knew
love you, Jackie.
Yeah, love you too, girl. But I knew it was you guys, so it made it easy to come to the room as well.
Well, that we appreciate. So thank you. We appreciate you and Julie and Jason, John, Allie, Holly, and Tom. Tom's pretty good too. Did you know that Tom told me today that his hat is orange and in his shirt, he has this rabbit on his shirt today. I thought it was red, white, and blue, but he says it's red, white, and orange. But I guess I thought it was a patriotic rabbit, but.
Well, it's red, orange, white, and blue, 2 shades of blue. But it's a running company called Rabbit, and their thing is Rad Rabbit, right? But it's a running company, and it's just one of the shirts that I have. But I said don't forget that it's got the orange on it. And Dom was like, okay. And I was like, what's my favorite color? Of course it has orange on it. And that's why my logo is orange and black, like, because orange is my favorite color. My favorite animal growing up when I was a little kid was a tiger. So I've always been attracted to like orange things. I've got this water bottle sitting on my desk here, that's orange, right? I mean, I'm surrounded by orange stuff. So I've got orange lights behind me. But yeah, of course there's orange. There's orange on, like, I always have orange somewhere. Always. Watch band.
See, I'm fascinated by the detail. And any storyteller, any writer out there, that's the detail. That's the juice, man. That's the stuff. So I'm looking at Tom on this live stream. He's wearing one orange stripe on his shirt. Has meaning. Everything has meaning. And when you dig into it, man, the story is uncovered. I wonder why Tom liked the tiger so much when he was a little kid. And those are, so Tom, you got to tell us. Then we're going to, for Jason, the collaboration over competition.
Why I like, I don't know. I don't know why I like the tiger so much. I don't know. It was always my favorite animal. Always. Like, I had a stuffed tiger when I was a little kid that I used to carry around with me everywhere. But yeah, it was always my favorite animal. I had tiger. And then of course my mom is that mom that, like, once you tell her that you like something, there's like a never ending like stream of that thing. So everything, like, I told her I like tigers, right? I think one time she asked me what my favorite animal was, and I picked tigers because I liked tigers. And then everything was tigers. So I had tigers all over my room when I was a kid, and like, it was just everywhere. My sister's favorite animal, like, was elephants, and she had elephants everywhere growing up. My mom's favorite animal was turtles. There's turtles everywhere in their house. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, I don't know why. And I don't even know how much of it was like my choice or my mom just like going crazy with like being like, oh, he likes tigers. Now everything he gets has a tiger. So yeah, I'm not really sure why, but hey, they're cool animals. They're very cool.
See, I'd love to dig into that. And so I'm just, Jackie, go on.
Sorry, I was just thinking there that when you said about Tom always having something orange, but hasn't that become our part of his brand now? That people would expect to see something orange, be it a hat, be it a stripe in his shirt, whatever it is.
He's shaking his head yes, so he is in agreement.
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, the hat is a great example, right? I always have my Talex hat on, right? Every networking event I go to, every like even just going out, hanging out, I almost always have a Talex hat on. And if I don't, I have a Talex shirt on and a different hat or whatever, right? But like having the hat, like the hat has kind of become like kind of a signature thing for me. To such an extent, two things. One, I went to a kind of fancy event with a networking organization that I'm a part of. And because it was a little bit fancy and I was wearing a suit, I decided not to wear the hat. And some people who I'd known for a year at that point actually didn't recognize me without the hat on. So that was one. And then the other one is that I've actually been at networking events where people have come across the room and to say hi to me and said, hey, I saw your hat and I recognized it and I wanted to come over and say hi and introduce myself. I'm so-and-so. And it's because I always have the hat on when I do speaking events, when I'm on panel discussions, et cetera, et cetera. I just always have the hat on. So it's definitely become a trademark thing. And I was telling somebody that story one time and they said to me, maybe I should start wearing a hat. And I said, hey, go for it. But here's something you should know. And they were like, what? I was like, if you're going to start doing it, then you have to always do it, right? Like you're kind of painting yourself into a corner. For me, I'm totally okay with it. Like I'm the guy at these networking events where everybody's dressed like they just came off a golf course. And I'm the guy with a flat bill hat on, right? And earrings and a beard, right? Like, so I'm the guy that kind of stands out a little bit. But I was like, you have to be comfortable with always wearing the hat, because it can't be like a sometimes thing. If you want it to become kind of a trademark or something you're recognized for, you have to be consistent with it. So if you're okay with always wearing the hat, go for it. But don't start doing it and then stop and then start and then stop. It won't work, right? It's just like anything else, especially with branding. Consistency is incredibly important. So, but yeah, it's 100% part of my brand. You're dead on, Jackie. Dead on.
See, we're nailing stuff. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're going to get deep here with our friend Jason. Jason can always go deep. We're talking competition over, or collaboration over competition, or competition over collaboration. Maybe you're just like, shit, I'm just going to blow everybody out of the water. You know, you could do that too. But Tom mentioned earlier today this scarcity mindset that some people are like, well, there's not enough business in the world, or if somebody else does something that Jason's involved in, maybe there won't be enough for Jason. So, Jason, what do you think about all that, my friend?
Competition over collaboration. How about neither? How about both? Collaboration makes your competition go better. You had coaches at some point in your life doing something. That's a collaboration. That's mentorship, right? And then eventually you grow beyond the coaching. You don't need it. So then it's like, is it the movement? Like some people will say, well, I need discipline in my life. And if I don't have that discipline, I'm not going to perform my best. Well, say like you train your discipline. Then what? You're at your best. For what purpose? For one event, for one time? No, you use it constantly to move your needle. And if you don't understand that, and you're killing what I call the hunt, every human being has a hunter inside them, a thirst, a hunger. They want something in life, and it's always evolving. Every stage of your life is always evolving. But if you are not creating, say, like a method, and you're not using the benefits of what's all around you, systems, programs, people, then are you really at your best? And then people will start to begin to descend on all the kind of blaming of why things exist, why you can't achieve your station in life. There's a lot to this, and it's really not one or the other. And then the other thing I wanted to point out, something Julie said earlier, would you be missed if social media went away right now? Yes, I would be. I create those social impacts because of my collaborations, because of my competition. It pushes me forward. All my podcasting equipment, my filming equipment, you know how that was earned? It was earned. I competed for not just attention, but making the best content I could possibly make for a person, and people got interested. And it took a series of people to do that. So it's really, one thing connects to another. And the other thing that I want to land with is that, when we choose the parameters and where you're offended or something doesn't work for you, say like the meeting like Tom was talking about, okay, it's a dual responsibility. What's the point of the mission of your communication? Is it really like an on-air interview? Yeah, absolutely. You should understand. Don't be on the road like I am trying to do a podcast interview. It's not good. If things come up, yeah, give the courtesy. But you pick the offense. Are you more concerned with the offense or the objective? And if your objective is, hey, we both agree, free disclosure, that's what we're going to do. Otherwise, cut the BS, because there's too many people that are sensitive in this world that don't get enough done because they're not focused on what is the point. But if you have a professional setting where I need you in space, then that's what you need to pay attention to. That's where you craft yourself. You work so hard where you cannot get it wrong for whatever you're doing at. Otherwise, you have empty purposes and you're never going to be satisfied. And the world is preaching not to be satisfied. So I land there. Thanks, guys.
Brother, thanks, man. I knew you'd have a philosophical take on it, man. That's why I go to Jason's room sometimes just to hear his thoughts on things, because it's going to be different than mine, and I appreciate your thought process. So thanks, my friend. Hey, so John, as we'll go around here, bad audio. You're interviewing somebody, and let's say they're on the road, what do you do? Are you just so pissed, or are you just like, hey, we can't talk today? What do you do?
Well, if it's bad audio, I stop the interview and reschedule it, because anything else is adding more time. And that's the one thing I don't have a lot of. None of us do, as a matter of fact. None of us have spare time to give away. So if I'm putting you on the radio and literally you're broadcasting at 35 million combined population, then you go on as a podcast, the audio has to be spot on. Otherwise, these radio stations drop me. And some of them I've been on for 5 years. And some it's taken 5 years to get on. So I got to be totally honest with you. No one is worth that risk. They're just not. And if they don't take the time to prepare, and I don't make it difficult, all they need is a phone in a quiet room. That's it. We walk through the process to cut down on reverb as much as possible. But if it's really bad audio and they keep breaking up, we'll just disconnect and reschedule it. That's kind of like what Sean had to say. Look, it takes a lot of work to get to where you're at. And one of them is for radio is broadcast quality audio is paramount to them. So I can't put out a second-rate product. End of story.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for the feedback. We were doing a room on Monday, me and my friend Brian P. Swift, and we were talking about when you're a guest on a podcast or a radio interview, things that are like misses. And the thing for me, like number one, was the people that don't show up or show up late. I'm just like as a publisher, I help a lot of my authors get interviews and things like that, set them up. So nothing's worse than when they cancel at the last minute. I'm just believing this. The show always must go on. And to think that because your phone went dead, or because your hair is messed up, or because you were running late, that you don't show up, unacceptable. So don't let me sidebar on that. All right, Heather, not the smartest guys in the room. What's going on, Heather? We've talked about a lot of stuff. If you want me to roll through it, I can do that too. Or
yes,
if you just,
please.
All right, here's okay. We were talking about collaboration over competition, or are you somebody that just you're super competitive and you go the other way? Or then we were talking about going all in on something. What if you went all in on your podcast, on your business? We were talking about this scarcity mindset, people that think, well, there's not enough business, I can't help anybody else. So those are some of the topics we talked about today. So have at it.
I mean, the competition. Really, birds? Seriously? Let's talk about these birds. They are always constantly competing with one another for the food. It's hilarious. And, it's not very helpful, obviously. So doing collaborations and working together, I think, and it took me a long time to get to that mindset, right? Because I was in, the fight, flight, freeze, run, that type of mindset, because I was hustling, grinding so hard for so long. I mean, I've been in business for over 15 years, and there was a time in which I was selling clothes and jewelry just to get by and feed myself and to make my car payment and to get the things I need, like a laptop. And, there was times in which I was eating the $5, breadstick box from Pizza Hut when Pizza Hut was around. And that literally lasted me for lunch and for dinner. Like, I had, and I was stuck in that for so long that I never asked for help. I just hustle, go. So now that I'm in this collaboration mindset, it has taken so much off of my plate. It's elevated my business. And it has helped me actually heal through a lot of the stuff that I went through while trying to survive and be a business owner all at the same time. So definitely like collaboration over competition. And I need to go teach my birds this, obviously. Thank you.
I think I love that, Heather. I love you sharing that. I think you pointed out something that's really valuable there, that a lot of times competition is the result of fear. Right? Like I was talking about the scarcity mindset, but I think often competition and that sort of like that sense of approaching things as a zero-sum game, right? Approaching, business success as a zero-sum game. In order to be successful, I have to take it from someone else, right? I have to capture market share from a competitor. I have to beat this other business that's in my sector, right? Or in my field in order to be successful, right? And it's this fear of not being able to capture that market share. It's this fear of not being able to beat these other businesses, right? Of not being able to be better than these other businesses that leads to that kind of that mindset that you feel like you have to compete for everything, right? That it's a zero-sum game, as if marketplaces, right? And we all know this is not true. Marketplaces are not fixed commodities. It's not like in every marketplace, right, that there are, or in every market, right, depending on your industry, it's not like there is a fixed amount of business to be done, right? It is routine and common that businesses work to grow their market, to bring new people into it, new customers, new community into their market so that they can generate more revenues, right? It's how a business that starts a new product like grows a market around that product, right? I mean, in like in the 1980s, there really wasn't much of a market for personal computers, right? That market had to be grown over time, right? In the early 90s, there wasn't much of a market for cell phones, right? In the early 2000s, there wasn't a market for smartphones, right? All of these markets had to be grown over time. And I'm just like, there's just a couple examples off the top of my head of like things that have happened in our lifetimes, right? In recent history, in our adult lifetimes, for many, or at least for me. I'll speak for myself. I don't know. I don't want to date anybody else in the room, but in terms of age, but like I'm 44, right? So like I saw all this stuff happen, right? I grew up seeing personal computing become a thing, right? I grew up seeing cell phones become a thing. I grew up seeing smartphones become a thing. And none of these markets existed before. And it's just a very clear example of how markets are not a fixed thing, right? It's not pie. It's not a pie, right? It's not an apple pie. There aren't only 8 slices, right, of pie. There are lots of slices of pie. And if you run out of pie, you just make another pie, right? You grow the market. So like stop fighting over the crumbs in the pie tin, right? And go make another pie, right? And work with somebody. Maybe you bring the ingredients for the crust and they bring the apples, right? Whatever the case may be, but work together to grow the market. And so everyone can have pie, right? And it just drives me nuts that this kind of fear-based scarcity mentality leads to people fighting over scraps when honestly, like we could all be eating well if we work together to grow the market, right? And to grow the work that we do, right? And improve the way that we work with our communities. It drives me crazy, but I see it all the time. And people who have been in business for years, like the example I was talking about earlier, I had these 2 individuals that I was talking to who got into this sort of scarcity mindset and were coming at me, talking about how I shouldn't be inviting people into a space who were potential competitors of theirs, et cetera, because they were afraid that they were going to take over some of their market share. And one of the things that they pointed out to me was how many years in business they have compared to me. And I was like, I don't care how many years but you could have 100 years in business between the 2 of you. I still think you're doing it wrong, right? I think you've found moderate levels of success in spite of yourselves, not because of how you've been approaching things, right? So like, I 100% agree, Heather. And it's so much better. It feels so much better, right? You are so much happier and more fulfilled when you collaborate, when you welcome in other people and you say, yeah, let's all work together and make this a better industry, a better marketplace, right? For all of us, for us and for our community, right? As opposed to fighting over scraps. That's just the way I like to think about it.
Good stuff, Tom. No fighting over scraps. We don't allow it. All right, let's hear what Magnificent has. Harmony with food, free healthy dinner recipes, shopping list. Yeah, get myself healthy. I'm trying to lose a couple pounds for summer. Okay, get myself back ripped again. Summer, I call it closet muscles. All of a sudden, you didn't know I was packing some muscle under here. All right, magnificent. What do you teach us? Go on. What's your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you guys are saying. Collaborating is huge. And honestly, I've been in business since 2008. And I really didn't start collaborating till probably about 3 years ago. I just kind of, like someone said earlier, I think it was Heather, I just was going, but I wasn't really, I wasn't networking enough. I wasn't collaborating enough. And over the past 3 years, I've just started networking more, collaborating. And I've also joined, not an MLM, but a franchise type of company. And that's been super helpful too, because there's a whole group and a whole team over there. That's just one little income stream coming in. So, but when I look at their business model, I'm like, this might have been a lot easier a long time ago to do this versus what I've been doing. Because obviously what I do is I practice medical nutrition therapy that's covered by health insurance in Rhode Island. And then out of that, I do other programs like my BioUnique Boutique or a course. So those are other income streams too. So I kind of have a base with my insurance companies. I get paid a base salary, I call it, through them. But now I have other income streams and other collaborations that I'm doing. And I can honestly tell you that my business has 10 times to what it was before. So, and I've also collaborated with Jay on stage. And he's been a huge help in helping me. I do a radio show on iHeart in Providence, and he has been an amazing help in me getting better at doing radio, because I've never been an expert in communication. I'm an expert in nutrition and health. And so having done a show without any real guidance or help was probably, I don't want to say it wasn't a smart thing to do, because I get a lot of business from it. But I just couldn't find anyone like Jay who's here on John or Jay. He uses both names. He's right here on stage with us. He has been fantastic. And that's one of the better choices that I made in the last year.
John Jay, man, you got to respond when somebody like Magnificent's giving you all that love. So have at it,
Check is in the mail, Meg. The check's in the mail. Listen, I've had lots of great teachers, and this is something I've had to learn a while ago. So I'm going to use two sports celebrities as examples. Tom Brady, who's now retired, and Patrick Mahomes. Now, they've both learned that to get to where they're at the top of their field, they have to rely on their teammates. They have to rely on the head coach, the position coach, the offensive coordinator. Also, they've got nutritionists, they've got physical therapists, they've got sports psychologists, they've got all these people they can rely on and use their skill set to help them be better at what they do. So if they can do all those things, why was I refusing to? So a lot of people out there really want to help and really will push you in the right direction. I just have to open myself up to be willing to take their contributions. And I don't get it right away quite often, but I try to remember to store it. And then later on I go, oh, that's what they meant. So if they can rely on that to be really good at what they do, why can't people like you and I?
Beautiful. I will tell you guys, when I started writing my first book in like 2005, and at the time, if anybody else said the word motivation, I thought they were competition. I was scared. I was like, what should I do? Oh no, what am I going to do? I can never talk to this person again. I'm so worried about it. And then at one point I started this website. It was called successtrader.org. And I'd write all the stories like that. And I could barely figure out this was like before templated websites and stuff. And the website sucked and nobody used the website. And here I am trying to do everything on my own and worried about all this competition. Then I started thinking, well, this person has a story, this person has a story, this person has a story. Their story's not my story. Their story's different. It could inspire people. What if I helped other people share their story? What if Julie had a story and I helped her share? What if John was doing something cool and I helped share that? Because John's, talked about the police and and the services and things that, well, how's that? It's still inspiring. It's not my message. We'll help him share it. And then as soon as I got into that world and started helping other people share their messages, and one, I wasn't lifting such a heavy weight anymore. And two, other people were, sharing the content, and I no longer had to worry about, if somebody said the word motivation, that my career was going to be over. No, there's more power to it. That's like Tom said, let's make more pies. There's a lot out there. So, okay, let's keep rolling here. Not the smartest guys in the room. Oh, Dr. Tachi's in the house. We got to get Dr. Tachi up here if she has time. And I got to say, Phil, first time meeting Phil, I think, man, look at this picture. The hair, the smile, that's your conscious entrepreneur making a difference. Yes, that's what we like to hear. Founder of 2 startups on a resort. Okay, good stuff. Collaboration over competition. That's one of the main subjects we're talking. Sunburn. I got so sad to run to my house from our walk and just stand in the shower with cold water going. But this guy, Phil, he's got a tan. He's probably never been burned. Okay, Phil, what do you have to say, man? Thanks for being here, my friend.
Thank you for such a lovely introduction. It's such a long time since I've been on Clubhouse. It really is, and your room fascinates me. I see a couple of people I know, Jackie, Heather. I jumped on the room because 18 months ago I said, okay, I'm going to get on with doing what I'm going to do. So I did. I sold my beach club, so my bio's out of date. That's gone. The resort's gone. I still coach, and I still coach people. However, I've just bought a 60-foot sailing boat, and it's in Thailand, in Phuket. So I'm just getting ready to go sailing around Southeast Asia and then around the world. Now I coach people. I a very niche group of people. I'm also I got a great history of alcoholism, autism, success, failures, bankruptcies, making lots of money, all those kind of stuff. Everybody's got the stories, and I'm thinking, this is a story I should share. This should be my swan song. So I'm listening. I'm kind of perching on the railings here at the side, just trying to pick up, what do I do to do this? How do I start going from the one-to-one stuff I do with people now to sharing more about it with other people, and not going down the big fees, everything else, just getting the message out there of how you can go from catastrophe to actually having a really, really good, peaceful life and doing whatever you want to do. 18 months ago, I said, I'm going to sell the beach club. I remember sitting there on Clubhouse and saying, I'm going to get on with doing rather than talking about it. Sold it all, bought a boat, done some other things, and now I'm getting my boat ready now to set sail with my wife, 2 of us, 60 foot around the world. And that's why I'm in your room. And thank you for such a lovely intro, by the way.
Phil, man, I'm already fascinated by this guy. So I'm like my friend Joel Hulk used to say, that we are all in this room. We are all on this day in May at this time of day. We're all here for some reason. Who knows what it is, but we try to find that reason every week. So inspiring stuff, man. And so I'm going to give you an answer to start with. That is free. Turn your phone on and turn it around. Start videoing. What you did there was spectacular. Be on Clubhouse more, be on wherever, but you impacted there's 22 people here now, maybe some people listening to a replay, 44 people, man. This guy sold everything and got his sailboat. And go on Instagram and do a reel and show you selling, hey, me and my wife out on this blue ocean that we haven't seen. Do 30 seconds, do a minute. If 6 months from now you want to start a podcast, do a podcast. If another 6 months from now if when you're out on the boat someday and the cells are, is it a sailboat? Did you say it's a sailboat? I need to know.
It is. It's a big sailboat with great big sails and a great big keel and lots of lead at the bottom.
Okay, so if you're out on your sailboat and it's, I guess and it's sailing away on that, like the winds have caught it, and you got an hour free, and you want to write in a notebook, well, do it, man. And then if after 6 months you have something there, well, then maybe you turn it into a book or something else. But for today, you already inspired us, man. So I would say just 30 seconds at a time, turn that camera around, start doing some video. Tom, what do you think on that? Anybody else give Phil
I
some
got a
thought?
comment.
Go on, Jason.
I was just going to ask, that poses the question, if you are only allowed 5 hours total for the whole week or even 2 weeks on social media, how would it impact your life? Where would you pay most attention to? Would you be wandering? Because, I mean, when we're active and out on a boat or sailing, you know, a lot of times, unless you're going to pay for a satellite phone, you have no net connection, right? But you have a connection to the rest of the earth, the ocean, the air, everything. So if you lost connection with so much access and only limited maybe 5 hours, how and what would it really do for you? Would it return something back to you of your own integrity, your own ownership of your mind, your soul, your spirit? What would it do?
Ooh, okay. That's a really, really, really great question. Fortunately, these days we kind of get internet in most places, unless we're in the middle of the ocean, and then Elon helps us out by we turn on the expensive internet for a little while. As somebody I'm retired now. I'm in mid-50s, and I do work with people, and I help them. Help a bunch of executives and people that are growing their careers, and I always relate what I do to sailing. So they'll tell me, you know, well, what's going on? I say, look, just you want to go and have that perfect day on the ocean. You want to know the blue sky, the waves are crashing, the sails are up. You're having that magical day, but you only get that magical day if you manage the mundane. If every single week you turn your engine over, if you change the oil, if you look at the seacocks, if you clean this, sparkle that and shine that. If you don't polish the chrome work, it will go rusty. So you have to do the basics every single day to get those magical days. And that's kind of where I've come from for the last couple of years, is both through stories of what's happened to me and then linking anything in life. I can find a story for you. I can find a metaphor in sailing for pretty much everything. And that's what I do. If I only had 5 hours a day, you know,
a week.
Well,
the whole week or 2 weeks.
I overdosed on Clubhouse and everything up until about 2 years ago, and that's when I said, I've got to stop, take immediate action, go and do things, Philip. Stop talking, stop listening, go and do. And I kind of cut most social media off, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely magical. And now I've done what I wanted to do. And now how can I what would I do? I guess I still have a couple of businesses. We use Instagram is generally the most popular now for anything that we want to get out. If I want to find information, you know, there's a big boating community in Facebook. If I want to get my engine repaired, there will be a whole bunch of groups out there that have got the same engine as me that will tell me how to do it while I'm in the middle of the ocean. So we do have internet these days. It's a really great question to ask me, because that's where I should be putting it out there. If I reflect it back and say, what would I do if I only had this much time? Where would I go? And that's where I should be putting out. Thank you.
I think, Phil, what I was going to say to what you shared before, what Dom said, was to just jump back to that. I think you should share the journey, right? I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people miss out on. I just pulled up your Instagram profile. I'm going to look through it. But it happens kind of thing, and share the journey that you're on, right? Share the experience, both the serene, unbelievable, beautiful, when you've got great, following wind, whatever the case may be, right? Like, share those parts of the journey too. But I think share the journey you're on, because it's incredibly interesting. it's not just interesting to me. I think it would be interesting to other people. And especially because of the work that you do. And like you said, you can find a metaphor for just about anything in sailing, right? So like sprinkle those gems in, right? And share them with the world. I think you've got an opportunity to give a great gift to people, to share this journey that you're on and share your experiences and your wisdom and what you learn from what you're doing with people. So don't squander that opportunity. I think that, go ahead, Phil.
See, that's how long it is since I've come, which is the resonance, the vibration of the universe, and Iris is C. And the whole point of this is to go and see the vibration of the universe. That's what the
Go on, Tom.
No, you got it, Tom. You got it. I was just gonna move us along, but you do that much better than I do. So you take it away.
Well, I'm gonna move us to one of our all-stars, one of our favorite people. Sometimes a guest host when I start slacking. Then Dr. Tachi, one of our favorites. We were talking about collaboration over competition. We were talking about getting a sailboat and riding around the world. Hold on. If Dr. Tachi's on the live stream, that reminds me, I got to do something. This is every week. Is a box of Tommy Gun flakes. Tommy Gun. I'm a Steelers fan. I waited 20 years for season tickets, and now I have them. Yeah, but I put myself on the list when I was in college, and I thought by the time. But anyway, this is a box of 2 years he was the Steelers starting quarterback, and this is my box of cereal that I look at, and it makes me smile. And also, Tommy Gunn, think about this: a guy that was selling insurance but chased his dream. He didn't give up on it. Became a starting quarterback. Tom, well, I'll let you.
And I'm also not a big kind of like, I don't think, but I was going to, a bunch of my friends and called me Tommy Guns. So yeah, anyway, that was all I had to add.
You could be I like that. You're a good Tommy Gunn. This Tommy Gunn, I noticed this cereal box is from 2002, and it says that you could win a chance to be at a 2003 Steeler game. But that reminds me, over the pandemic, and Heather had said that at times that she, you do what you got to do to get by. You do what you got to do to survive. You do what you got to do to follow your dream. So I'm one of those guys. When I had a restaurant at one point, I had a paper restaurant, and one time one of them was broke open, and my daughter ate the candy. Years old. So anyway, that's all I got. All right, sometimes co-host, what do you got for us?
Speaking of old heavy here, as per usual, I was collaboration versus competition. And this is interesting because this is something that I've always believed in collaboration for everyone in the space, in the market. When you look at television, let's look at, and Tom can attest to this, let's look at anything. Obviously, the point in television, right, is to be the best of whatever, to be the highest rated of whatever. And so, of course, that kind of fuels some level of competition. Well, look what they're doing over there at Network X. We need that type of show, too. If you look at social media, the whole point of Master of None, Facebook, that's what I call Facebook. The whole point of them trying and doing everything under the sun is, yes, diversifying their offerings, but more so trying to compete to get the dollars that other people have. But has that worked well for them? No. And the reason I call them Master of None is because they don't do any one thing particularly well. So that's not always the case. Obviously, it is good to try and strive to be at the pinnacle of whatever field it is. But how much more could you get out of it if you're collaborating? So, for example, Tom knows this. My business partner and I, we are actually starting a network. And so with that, it's not, it would have been really easy to try and build and grow, our own channels and make it just about our content. But we know that there's power in numbers, there's power in collaboration. And if we all kind of move together and work together as a network of content, that's just more people who can view and look at your content. So obviously strength in numbers, and I believe in the power of collaboration rather than just the power of one. And I'm complete.
Dr. Tachi, you are a great collaborator. We appreciate you. And Tom would say we sign off. So go on, Tom.
I think if I was going to quote Dr. Tachi back to Dr. Tachi, I would say I sign off on everything you just said. I co-sign on everything you just said. Co-sign. That's the phrase that Dr. Tachi likes to use all the time. But yeah, I do. I very much co-sign on everything you just said. I couldn't agree more. We were talking about this before you were in the room today, Dr. Tachi, and yeah, I mean, collaboration is, I think, always the better way forward in a business context, in a marketplace. It's always going to lead to better end results, better long-term results. Short-term competition for a money grab can maybe benefit short-term, but it's not a lasting play, right? And I think we see that unfold in a lot of ways, both from a business and economic perspective, but also from a cultural and societal perspective as well. Societal is not a word, by the way. Cultural and societal perspective as well. We see that unfold all the time. But I think collaboration is always a good way forward. Is there room for some healthy competition? Absolutely. And should you compete with yourself and always challenge yourself to do better? Absolutely. Right. And should you push everyone else to be better and to be the best they can be? Absolutely. Right. But you shouldn't be fighting over scraps, or like I said before, you shouldn't be fighting over crumbs in the pie tin, right? Get the ingredients together, work together, and make another pie so everyone gets a slice. So anyway, love that. Thank you for being here again, Dr. Tachi, and always appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
Absolutely. Okay, Satva Flash, we're going to go to Satva and Creative. So Satva first, then Creative, and then I think Tom might lead us to one of those beautiful wrap-ups that he does so well. So Satva, what'd you want to add, my friend? How
Beautiful.
you doing?
Hey, my friend, I'm doing. There's a constant theme that keeps coming back, and I'm going to share from it. This integration aspect of accepting and allowing things. I've dived into the Tao Te Ching, Dr. Wayne Dyer's version. He has a beautiful devotional book. Besides the point, there's something in the Tao, and it says, allow while desiring, which is like, well, how do I do that? Because I want to do this, but how do I also allow this to come forward while I'm desiring it? And this big concept, this big theme of accepting everything as it is, regardless, has landed with me in a very powerful way. And what that looks like to me is when I look outside and I see all of nature, all of creation, blissed out, basically, animals enjoying life, people just enjoying life. Nothing is really, there's competition, but nothing is really worried about where my next meal is going to come from. There's so much abundance here. And within the context of this, all competition takes place within this greater context of cooperation and partnership. So when I'm accepting someone and I'm accepting them fully, I'm also giving myself the gift of allowing me to be in this moment and to embrace it exactly as it is, without trying to put my hands on it and make it more of this or less of that. Just allowing it to be. There's so much power in that. And there's the fun. I think that's where all of the fun and the enjoyment really begins to bubble up and flow over. So it's just me saying, hey, accept things as they are. It doesn't mean we can't get better. It just means to accept it is to also allow it to be what it is, as it has that right to be as it is, and allow myself to be complexified in that process. And I think that's where all the joy is at. Thanks for the stage. Always love your spaces. Big love from Colorado to Satva.
Thanks, Safa. Yeah, I think I really like the idea that it kind of ties into something I said earlier as we were talking about this whole thing, was talking about control the controllables, right? And I think that kind of goes to, if you take that and take a step back, take that idea and take a step back, what you're left with is the realization that you can really only control how you react to things. You can never control other people's behavior, right? So you really shouldn't don't allow yourself to get caught up. Don't waste your time worrying about other people's behavior. Control and put your focus and energy into how you react to the situation and how you interact with the world, because that's the thing you really have control over. So I think that's kind of what I got out of what you're saying, but I really like that idea.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate that present, right? The right now, the here, the now. Satva, what were you going to add? Go on.
Yeah, it's that, and it's more of like there is that dynamic, definitely there, by controlling the controllables. However, there's some things that sometimes they're uncontrollable, and yes, I still have my choices on how I'm going to control myself in that expressioning, if you will, of that experience, that moment. That's what they call the rasa, the energy, the passion. Extracting that is joyful for me, and I encourage everybody to extract their rasa. Extract your rasa today from every moment as much as you can. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate the feedback. Big love. Thoughtful from Colorado.
I like that. What was that word? Rasva. That seems like something that's like
Rasa. R-A-S-A. Rasa.
That reminds me of
it's a Sanskrit word.
That reminds me of Hakuna Matata from
It means no worries.
Yeah, there you go.
Rest of our days.
Well, you can really sing.
It's our problem free.
Who knew?
Hakuna Matata. Oh yeah.
I quit interrupting because your voice was so good. Yeah, who knew after 2 years of knowing you that you had a voice like that? Okay, we got 2 more people to meet, and then Tom's going to wrap us up, and then I'm going to go work on my suntan, maybe ride my bike, make a couple more calls. Who knows? Okay, creative. What do you want to add on this subject? Ooh, creative. Interesting. Creative is creative coach. Food is medicine. Fun ideas for family. Okay, we were talking about a bunch of stuff. Collaboration over competition was one of them. Go on, creative.
Hi there. Good morning. The reason why I jumped on stage, because I typically will just sit and listen, is the what if you only had 5 hours a week? Was that correct?
That was one. What if you only had 5 hours a week? And Julie had asked the question, what if you just left social media in general? And Phil said he did leave it. So go on, creative.
So thank you for posing that question. I think it's so important, especially with our children. And I did this to my teenage daughter, and I didn't give her 5 hours a week. I completely had her shut down a couple of them that no longer served her. And I had her focus on one platform that she did enjoy. And then I put a time limit on it. And I saw tremendous growth in her confidence. She stopped comparing herself so much. She stopped worrying about what other people are doing. And then it taught me a lesson that not only as a mom should I do that to my child, but I should do that to myself and love myself enough. So I just wanted to say that if you have children on social media, specifically teenagers, I think that question is amazing. I think it would help so much with our children's mental health. I have been a psych nurse for about 19 years, and I've worked Skid Row and every other place you can think of. And I have never seen so much sadness, and it's a lot over social media when it comes to our children. And so I think that's an awesome question. I think I might make a sticker out of it or do something creative with it to help our children. I don't know yet, but thank you all for sharing. Dr. Fauci, I want to say it correctly. As far as collaboration, I think I could not agree with you more. We are all geniuses in our own lanes, and where we leave off, others will pick up. And if we collaborate, even like on a shared Word doc, Google Drive, and you would be amazed how a project can actually go from start to finish so easily without having to disrupt your creative. We all have blockages. We all For example, I can stay up all night and work on a project and feel fully refreshed in the morning, where others need to go to bed on a certain specific time. So I love collaboration. I wish I personally can find more people to collaborate with me to share this mission that food is medicine, our bodies are our temples. And I will just get more and more creative to get parents to invest in their children, because, you know, so often we invest in all this outer stuff, but we have a lot of inner stuff, and I'm included. So thank you for posing those questions. You sparked my happy place this morning, and one love. Thank you.
Thank you, Creative. All good points. And it makes me think of just this fact that somebody has, I know this has been said in this room, social media, you control it, it doesn't control you. So if we all knew that, what if we all walked away? Like the biggest, that would be a challenge. How many of you could really walk away for a week? For how long? Just because you can, because you control it. So, okay, let's meet to one of our friends. Prof T, we had to bring you up. We're getting ready to leave, but Prof T is an important member of our community and the author of the grid system. How about that, Prof T? And she's always, I love her videos. Her videos are on fire right now, Tom. I don't know if you've caught any, but her video content making game has, she raised the bar. She's putting out more as well. So Prof T, what do you think about all that love for you? Go on.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, or good now, wherever you are in the world. Always a pleasure to be here. I couldn't find the room. At 9:30, I was looking around frantically for it. Thank you, Julie, for sending me a text. I love this room. I love the topic, and thank you for the props. Yes, I'm so excited. You guys gave me some advice a few weeks ago. I took that advice, and now I'm doing my 2 minutes with Teresa. Funny thing, I came up to my computer to sit down to do a 2 minutes with Teresa, and there was the text. Hello, Julie was like, where are you at, Prof T? So always a pleasure to be here. As far as social media, you know, hey, Magnificent, it's good to see you. Creative, what you were saying was, you know, spot on. As a therapist, I've been a licensed clinical psychotherapist for almost 20 years. And I've never seen the likes of what I'm seeing now with the level of depression, anxiety, lack of focus. I also teach at a college university, and my students do not have the attention span that I used to see, and they're always on their phone, and I am not allowed to tell them to put their phone away. So they have their laptops out and their phones, and it is like cray anymore. So with that said, I do believe our mental health is affected by our social media usage, especially in a younger brain, because the frontal lobe is not fully developed, and that's the decision-making part. So children have struggles making certain decisions. That's why we have parents that need to make some for them. But as far as personally, yeah, I've often said I got to get off social media. I've often said I'm only going to do this, and that. And then I get kind of brought back in, and then you got to keep up with everything that's going on. And I'll land my plane with this. I remember when Clubhouse first came out and I was on Clubhouse, how many of us were in the middle of dinner with family, or in the middle of a restaurant with friends, or getting in the car, or going into the store, and you're frantically listening and talking and waiting for your turn. I don't do that anymore. So this is one of those rooms that I love coming in, because I learned so much, and it's a nice group of like-minded individuals. So Tom, thank you. Julie, I know you're at VCon having a great time. So excited. Always a pleasure to see you all. Satva, pleasure. Hope forward to see you all again real soon. Thank you.
All right, good stuff as always, Prof T. Killing it. I love Prof T. I get my Prof T content. Okay, we got Amanda. We're gonna keep it rolling, and then Tom's gonna wrap us up because I gotta work on my tan. Come on, I only got so much time to give. So Amanda, drop us some knowledge or ask a question. What do you got for us?
Hey, how's it going? Well, I just wanted to honestly come up here and just say hello to everyone. Hey, Prof T, it's my girl from Philly. I wanted to introduce myself for those who don't know me. My name's Amanda Yoa. I'm a speaker, author, podcaster, and performance coach straight out of Philly, PA. My passion is to inspire unstoppable women to step into who they truly want to be in order to break those glass ceilings and make those bigger and better than they could have ever imagined visions and dreams become their reality. So yeah, I just wanted to come up here and say hello to everybody, and I'm grateful I found this community. I did connect with you, Dominic, on Instagram. I sent you a little hello, which is what I always like to do. You know, connection and community is truly important to me. I just had a quick room. I'm starting to build out my own club or house now, they're called. You know, on just the importance of building community with like-minded people who have similar goals and visions and dreams. Having that connection over, you know, collaboration over competition is truly so important. And I've seen the most growth in my life and in my business through taking that action and collaborating, connecting with like-minded people. So, again, I just wanted to say hello to everybody. I'll give you guys all a follow, and I'm grateful I found the room. Looking forward to other rooms.
Hey, Amanda, thank you very much. And I got to be honest, we switched from club to house, or they made us switch. So I don't know that I'm good enough at it yet. So when somebody says that they didn't find the room, I agree, because like 2 weeks ago, I don't even know, like I had trouble finding the room. So, and I'm setting it up. So anyway, Amanda, okay, last thing before we get to Tom, since you specialize in building community and things like that, give us a tip from an expert on building community. What do you got?
So if I would have to say one thing, oh gosh, this is hard. Okay, one thing in building a community is, for me, surround yourself, if you have a dream or a goal or a vision for your life or your business, surround yourself with people who are 3, 5, 7, 9, 12 steps ahead of that game. Because I will tell you now, if you ask somebody or expect to be poured into by somebody that is not doing the thing, you will be sadly disappointed in the feedback that you are going to hear. And I experienced this from personal experience, you know, telling people about my visions and goals and being slapped back with scarcity mindset. And I realized that I'm never going to find growth or up-levelment in anything that I'm doing unless I'm surrounding myself with like-minded people. So since we're all on this app right now, Clubhouse is a big proponent for that. You know, have that vision, make the intention on who it is that you need support from. Because there will be days when you feel like you can't do the thing or you don't know the first steps to take. So having that intention on the goal that you wish to accomplish is important. And surrounding yourself, utilizing Clubhouse, scroll down your feed, you know, put in your interests and look for those rooms and those clubs and those houses for those people who are already doing the thing, who are, like I said, 3, 5, 7 steps ahead of the game. And surround yourself with those people, because that's how you'll truly be supported. And that's where you will see the most growth and up-levelment in your life and in your business and in anything that you're doing.
Boom! I knew you'd. I had a feeling about this one, Tom, that she was going to come with the tips. So hey, thank you for being here. We appreciate all of you. That's what I'm going to leave you with, and then we'll go to Tom for something more impactful. What do you got, Tom?
All right, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. So here's what I want to leave everybody with today. You know, Amanda was just talking about this idea of, you know, up-leveling and thinking big. And here's where it got me. We started out the room, sort of the question I posed, or the thing that I mentioned to Dom before we hopped on today, was this idea of collaboration over competition and sort of getting out of this scarcity mindset of like fighting for scraps, right? And it all came out of an interaction I had with a couple of people over the course of the last week. And one of the things that I think is incredibly important to remember when we're talking about getting out of this scarcity mindset is that if you are focused on tomorrow, right? If you're focused on literally, getting through, maybe not even tomorrow, if you're focused on just getting through the day, right? If you're focused on just getting to the next hour, right? If you're thinking small, if you're in kind of scarcity mode, right? Where everything is a battle, where every little scrap is a hard fought battle, you are never going to be able to think big, and you're never going to be able to accomplish big things or big goals in your business or in your personal life, right? So instead of being caught in that competitive scarcity mindset, right, where you're fighting each other for scraps, I would say instead focus on thinking big. And I have a friend who has shared this advice with me that his father gave him, was that you should set big, audacious, crazy, unattainable goals, right? And it's something that I've really taken on board, because if you set these big, crazy, unattainable goals, you will get further down the road towards accomplishing them than if you would if you set small goals, right? So I was just talking to somebody over the weekend about this. We were talking about sort of training, and she's a little frustrated with her training, and she was asking me, like, in terms of her running, and she was asking me for some advice and asking me some specific questions about how I train. And I said, I set big, crazy goals. My last half marathon that I ran, I wanted to run it. My goal was an hour and 30 minutes, right? The fastest I had ever run a half marathon before that was an hour and 43 minutes, right? So to cut 13 minutes off of a half marathon time is a ridiculous goal. Ridiculous, right? Kind of crazy. Did I get there? No. But I did it in 1:35. I still cut 8 minutes off of my time, right? Off of my previous best time. The only reason I cut 8 minutes off is because I set a crazy goal. If I had set a reasonable goal of an hour and 40 minutes, yeah, I might have made it, but I probably wouldn't have been under it. And if I was, it wouldn't have been by very much. I definitely wouldn't have run 1:35 if I had set my goal at 1:40, right? And a lot of people would have argued that that was a reasonable goal, but I wouldn't have gotten as far down the road if I had set a reasonable goal, right? So when we're thinking about collaboration, when we're thinking about how we grow, how we build businesses, build community, right? And grow the things that we're a part of, improve marketplaces that we're a part of. Think big, think audacious, be crazy in your goal setting. And you will get much further down the road for doing that than you would if you were reasonable. So in some cases, it's a really good thing to be unreasonable. And I think goal setting is one of those cases. And that's all I got for today. So that's what I want to leave everybody with. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate all of you so much for being a part of this community, for being a part of this space. Thank you some new folks for dropping in, Amanda and Phil, really, and Creative. Really appreciate you guys, all the folks downstairs listening, and all the regular folks. Love you all. You guys are the reason why Dom and I do this room every week. We appreciate you guys. We will be back here with you, both of us, not the smartest guys in the room, next Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And until then, I want all of you to have an incredible week and be unreasonable with your goal setting. Can't wait to hear all about it from you guys next Wednesday. We'll see you then. Thanks all. Much love. Bye-bye.